Today I'm going to create an HTTP interceptor to add an authorization header to my HTTP request. You can see down here, we have tokens for authorization, and in the last video I added them manually to my request, but we don't want to have to do that for every type of request. So we need an interceptor. Let's go ahead and get started with that. All right, I have my command prompt open, actually two, one running ng-serve and the other one for creating components. I'm at the base level, Bigfoot-YouTube. I changed the directory from the last video or maybe 2 videos ago. Let's create a service for our interceptor. Let's do ng generate service HTTP Cognito interceptor. Right, and I'm keeping everything on one level of my project just to keep things simple. You probably want to have different folders and stuff for your services, like your interceptors, different types of interceptors, different types of functionality. But our project's pretty small. All right, so we got our interceptor created. Let's go to our Visual Studio Code, open up our project, source, app, and then down here, we have HTTP interceptor. We actually have 2 files. One is a spec file for unit testing. I think I'll get rid of it because we're not going to do any unit testing anytime soon. Let's do a delete. There we go. Now this is what our interceptor is going to be. We already have a base service. We need to implement something. We need to say, export class HTTP Cognito interceptor service implements HTTP interceptor. All right, there we go. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so you can see more. And we got our interceptor import up there. We're going to need some more stuff though. And we're going to find out in a minute what we're going to need. This is complaining because we need an intercept method. Let's go ahead and add that. Intercept. Oh, now we got a lot of cool stuff going on. Maybe I can even move this back more. Cool. We need an HTTP request. Well, that's in the same package. Let's just go ahead and add that there. That's good. We got rid of one red line. Let's go ahead and, oh my gosh, there we go. Control C. Add another one. And oh, we're going to be able to add event here too. This one. Control C, event. There we go. Let's go down for the observable. That's a little bit different. That's the RxJS class or package. So I'll say observable. Boom. Oh, cool. Gave it to us. Oh man, still complaining. That's all right. We have to return an observable. So right now, let's just go ahead and return next.handle request. This request right here that gets passed in. Now we don't have any errors and we can do some other stuff. We have some more infrastructure we got to handle. So if you're wondering how this interceptor is going to get implemented, the framework does a lot of that. We're going to have to go to app module TS. There it is. And let's take a look at our providers, right? This is exactly what we're going to need for our interceptor. It's an array, so you could have a lot of providers. Let's go ahead and make a space, maybe not 2. I'm going to add a curly bracket, and then I'm going to do provide : HTTP interceptors. Look at that, it even helped me out. Comma, I'm going to need my class, use class : HTTP interceptor. What did I call that? Cognito service. That'll work. Maybe I should call that auth service. That's all right. And then we're going to do one more thing. We're going to do multi, which means we could use more than one interceptor, right? So we always call that true. I don't even know why they gave it an option. Probably someone smarter than me does. But this is what we need. Once we have this, then our interceptor is going to be adding stuff every time we make a request. Well, right now it's adding nothing, right? It's just a pass through. So we're getting the request and then we're sending it on, but we're going to be adding stuff. Now let's take a look at our component where we're actually adding the authentication or the authorization. Let's open up our sightings component, and then down here, which one? Here we go. We have our Cognito stuff that's getting added. So I'm going to remove this from the sightings component and anything I need from the sighting service with authorization, because we're going to put this in the Interceptor. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then in the constructor, we don't need to inject the Cognito service anymore, which means we don't need to get the token. Let's see if I can get this without messing anything up. So we'll get rid of this token. I know Nat's complaining. We're going to change that in the service in a minute. I think if I get rid of this, we're going to be good to go. All right, and then we'll just move this in. I'm going to do a Shift Tab and maybe get rid of this line. Nice. Now let's go to our service, our sighting service, and update that. Right, so we'll go to our sighting service. There we go. What do we got in here? Well, we're not going to need the header. I'm actually going to delete this. I'm going to redo it in the Interceptor. So let's get rid of that. Oh, we don't need the token either, right? Get rid of that. And then we're not going to need this header. All right, we'll get rid of that. I'm also not going to need that comma because we're only going to need to send the URL. So we have our base URL here. We're going to get the header attached to that. Oh, and look at this. This is getting a little gray. We don't need the HTTP headers here either. All right, so that's a pretty slim service, but it's going to do the job once we get our header implemented on our Interceptor. Let's go back to our Interceptor. Here it is, HTTP Cognito Interceptor Service. And we're going to have to add some stuff. So one of the problems that I had is we have to return the observable, but our authorization is in a promise. That's a little bit tricky. If you're doing Angular, you know some of the pain between the promises and the observables. So let's go ahead and get a couple of libraries in here, or stuff that we're going to need to use, right? We're going to need this map. We're going to need this merge map. And then I'm going to say from, and this is the RxJS stuff. We'll say RxJS / operators. And what else? We're going to need our Cognito service. So let's go ahead and get that. So we'll say Cognito service. Nice. All right, so now let's go to our constructor, and we're going to need our Cognito service. We're going to need to inject that into our Interceptor service. Let's do private Cognito service : Cognito service. And we already did the import for it. Here, we're going to have to return an observable, but we're going to be using the promise for the token, so we're going to have to do a little bit of wizardry. I'm going to get rid of this for now. We are going to need a next handle, but not at the moment. I'm going to do something called from. This used to be from promise, but it's changed recently. And we got to add from. Let's go to this import for the observable, comma, from. All right, that's all right. That red line will go away, hopefully. All right, now I'm going to do this Cognito service dot get current session, open and close parenthesis, and then I'm going to close that parenthesis with the from. So this is the promise that we're converting. And then I'll do dot pipe merge map. Oh man, merge map. There we go. Open parenthesis, resp. So this is the response back from our Cognito service. We're going to get our token, right? It's returning a promise. We're going to say let token equal resp get ID token. And then in the ID token, we're going to get the JWT token and do colon. All right. Now we're going to get our request and equal that to the request dot clone. Open parenthesis, curly bracket. Let's set our header. Let's go set headers, colon, and we'll just put it right on in there. We'll do an authorization. And then put the token in. Cool. And we're almost done. Let's go down here and add a semicolon. Perhaps we could do a little printout. Console log request equals request. And then return next dot handle request. Nice. I'm going to put a colon here, and it looks like I got me an extra parenthesis. All the red is gone. Woo! Let's do a save all. I've been saving it, and I haven't been showing you guys. So save it, save periodically. Let's go to our website and see if we can get our data back. And then we're going to see if we're actually calling our interceptor too. All right, now I'm all ready to log in. I'm going to hit the login. No red. Awesome. And let's hit sightings. Holy mackerel. So there we go. We got our request. So we are getting our interceptor in there. Let's open up our sightings data. Oh yeah, we got that from our API with our authorizer on it. We are in business.